What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. Thanks for joining us today. It's your girl, Lady and the Chef, and I'm joined by my mom.
The Balaks 21. Good evening.
How you doing today?
Ah, after that loss, it's gonna take a while to recover. Yeah, real disappointed, but otherwise okay. And yourself? Because
Yeah, this one stings. This one stings. This hurts like when the Knicks lost to Miami last season in the playoffs.
oh,
This it took me a while to get over that. Like a lot of true Knicks fans who I feel like they would agree with me, but this one stung. I would have been less disappointed if the Liberty would have lost in game 5 compared to the way they lost last night. It to me was just inexcusable. It was just a terrible loss.
or if they would have played a lot better, they
Yeah,
were.
I probably would
Yeah.
have had a little bit more respect for them, but the fact that I mean, let me start off by asking you, where did the Liberty go wrong in game 4? What did
Hmm.
you see that they just could have done better or that they weren't doing in game 3 or what we saw rather throughout the season that worked for them? Where did they go wrong?
I mean, they went wrong in a lot of areas. I mean, where do you start? I mean, to me, they didn't run their offense. The defense was like porous, from AJ, our man Clyde. Um, and they lived by the three. Like it was, if the three is not falling, there's there's a whole lot more that you could have incorporated into your arsenal, like drive. I mean, there was no screens. It was just gut wrenching. There's a
Yeah.
lot they did wrong. And what do you think they did wrong?
Settle for the 3. Like you
Yeah.
said, piggybacking off of what you said, to me, the Liberty settled for the 3 way too much.
Mm,
I didn't see enough attacking at the basket. JJ wasn't involved much. I didn't see her getting a lot of touches.
yeah.
There wasn't enough ball movement, a lot of times. And I just felt like you can't say they were tired because there was plenty of time, but I just felt like I don't know, the Liberty just seemed a little off. And sometimes in sports, teams may have an off game. Yesterday wasn't the game to be off, but the Aces weren't playing, this fabulous basketball yesterday. They were
Yeah.
off themselves. They were missing a
Mhm.
lot of open shots, a lot of open layups. Asia Wilson, while she did pick it up, but technically the Liberty didn't even get blown out because it wasn't a high scoring game.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the Liberty should have done more of what the Aces did to climb back into that game, which was attack the basket. I did say it in our first episode. I wanted to see the Liberty attack and get the Aces in foul trouble. And then the Liberty did not take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump to the end of the game. The Liberty were down by, I want to say, was it 6 or 9?
It was I think it was 6
6,
because Saab hit
a
a
3, and then we hit
3.
a 2. So we were
Yeah.
down by 1.
Fluke.
Right.
Mhm.
Now let's go to that last play.
Ooh.
What was that? Because to me, it didn't. I don't know if that. I'm sure Sandy Brondello drew up a play,
Yeah. They just didn't
but it wasn't executed right. Right. I think if because even still, Courtney Vandersloot can hit that side shot, but you know who to me should have been at that corner spot? Benijah Laney, who's been hitting that corner shot all season long. But even if it wasn't meant for Benijah Laney or Stewie or Sabrina, Courtney Vandersloot was almost behind the basket when she
Yeah.
shot that. She wasn't even like angled up correctly at the basket to even make that mid-range shot because she was left open.
Yeah.
As we discussed, Courtney Vandersloot has been left open because the Vegas Aces have looked at her like she's not going to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
She just hasn't been really shooting the ball like that. Now, I know you mentioned last night during the game Brianna Stewart, as we all know, hasn't had the best playoffs. She played better during the regular season. Now, to me, it was very reminiscent of Julius Randle last season in the playoffs.
Wow. Yeah.
Didn't show up. I'm talking before the ankle injury. Didn't show up.
Yep.
You said last night Brianna should have gave back the MVP, and I agree with you. Give it to Asia Wilson.
And rightfully so.
She was more deserving.
That to she did not play like an MVP.
Mm-mm.
She should have taken over that game and dominated just like Asia did.
Yeah,
That's a real MVP. Asia
agreed.
put the team on her back. And we didn't see that from no one. I mean, I liken, Stewie to a magician. She disappeared.
Yeah, yeah.
And JJ had to been her assistant. No, because they yeah, but we'll get over it, and just like as a fan, we have to. And me, I'ma still root for them, but let's next year. There's always another year.
I agree. It doesn't make me stop being a Liberty fan, but I think that it's very gut wrenching for the fans when you didn't have the Yankees or the Mets go far in sports. The Giants is looking real crappy.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Yeah. So I feel like with the Liberty, they had such a fantastic season this year. They got far. They outbeat. You got that far. And kudos to them to even making the finals. I will give the Liberty that. It's not easy once you get to the playoffs and you get to that next level and next round. It only gets harder in any sport.
Yeah,
However, I think one thing that the Liberty definitely need to work on for the next season, one, don't make any major moves getting rid of anybody. Keep the same squad.
yeah, your core. Yeah,
Right. Keep the same squad that you have. To me, it works. Don't try to make any big changes or get rid of any. Keep the same people that you have. It works
yeah,
out.
yeah, for sure.
However, and I think you'll agree with me, a lot of the Liberty games this season, we had those games where like the Liberty would be up by 20. And again, I hate to go there, but it's almost very reminiscent of like the New York Knicks. They'll be up by 20, 25. Third quarter, we lose gas. Fourth quarter, we're only up by 4. We had maybe one game this season in New York Liberty where they did come back down by like 20 points, and the Liberty came back and won the game beautifully. I can't remember who that was against. I don't know if that was against Connecticut, if that it wasn't against Chicago, it was against one of the teams, or if it was against Phoenix. We came back, we won, beautiful.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying
But
to
I
think
think
what
the
it is.
Liberty have to work on how to like once you have a nice solid lead, which going back to yesterday's game 4, the Liberty had a nice lead. We were up by like 14 at one point. But then
Yeah,
in the fourth quarter, it turned into we were trading baskets. The Liberty scored, Asia Wilson or either Kelsey or Jackie scored. The Liberty scored. We couldn't hit a basket to save our lives. And again, I hate to go there, but it was like with the Knicks playing Miami. We couldn't buy a basket.
yeah.
We couldn't
There,
hit
there,
a shot.
there was a collapse somewhere, and I mean, and defensively and offensively, because if you're trading baskets, you're not
Yeah,
stopping them.
yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
your defense wasn't there, and the offense most certainly didn't show up. Um, you know, I,
Individually either.
yeah, yeah. Outside of
Individual
like
players.
Sloop, she had 19. She was the highest scorer. Um,
JJ had 4 points.
yeah, exactly.
Not
Yeah, yeah,
enough.
for sure. Yep.
Sabrina Onescu only had maybe 11 points.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
give her
and
13 max.
and Stewie had what?
Not enough. That's
Yeah,
what
well,
it
I know
was.
she wasn't in double double. I know she did have 14 rebounds, but it
We
just
needed
wasn't enough
points.
to carry over the hump, you
We
know?
needed points. We
Yeah.
Stewie wasn't aggressive enough. Sabrina
Mm.
Onescu wasn't aggressive enough. Jonquel Jones literally was Houdini, like you said. She disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't
She
know where Jonquel went, but Jonquel didn't do nothing that she did throughout the regular season or game 3. I
and
was
considering
very surprised.
she was what last year's MVP, no? When she was with Connecticut, or was that
No, that was 2021.
2021? Yeah. Yeah. So like you know what it takes to be MVP. You've been there. And you were in the finals. Again, you've been there. You
Yeah.
know what it
You have
takes.
that
Just
experience. But
yeah.
that's what's a little shocking to me because the Liberty really have to check themselves and really go, dang, did we really just lose to the BC squad of the Vegas? Because even if Chelsea Gray didn't get injured and she was in, you guys are technically the better team. Yeah, they won. But to
Mm-hmm.
me, the Liberty are the better team, and you guys have more experience because you have Courtney Vandersloot, who's won a championship and who's been to the playoffs in the postseason plenty of
Yeah.
years. You have Brianna Stewart, who's won championships and who's been to the playoffs and postseason throughout her entire WNBA career. You have Big Mama Steph Dolson, who's been so you have John Quell Jones, who's been players who's been to the playoffs and they know what it
Yeah.
takes. And like last year, the Liberty made the playoffs, but I think we got beat by Chicago Sky.
Yeah,
But
we
we
did.
weren't ready yet. We didn't have all the pieces there to
E
get us over
e
the hump.
Exactly. Yeah, 'cause and that's our idea. You assemble this core group of players who's have the experience and who can, quote unquote, take you to the promised land. Like you said, they have all the right equipment, under their belt, but they just
It
couldn't bring
means
it
nothing
home.
if you don't execute it right.
Yeah,
And I think that's the problem with the Liberty is that, and I give it to them, they did have a great season. I won't take that away from them. However, the Liberty fell short yesterday. They
yeah,
didn't want it more. They didn't want it bad enough. And I
yeah,
think that we were playing a little too timid and too soft. We weren't playing Liberty basketball. And, even to a degree, like at one point, I was like, why didn't even Benijah try to go off and take the lead? Because she's very capable of driving to the basket, shooting those mid range shots.
yes.
I just didn't see enough from any one particular player that I could have said, well, you know
Yeah,
what? She was trying. She tried to put them on her back and put the team. I didn't see that from anybody.
yeah,
And it just it's very unfortunate. I think a lot of New York Liberty fans will agree with me. I wouldn't have been much as disappointed if the Liberty would have lost, if we would at least brought it to game 5 and didn't win the actual championship. I would have been like, okay, we fought.
yeah.
But there wasn't enough fight yesterday.
I agree. I mean, they they were out of sorts. Like and JJ, she to me she was slow. She looked tired at
Tired,
some
yeah.
point. Even Stewie, she there was not enough hustle play. Again, when you settle, that's the outcome. There was no hustle, no grit, nobody. You know, didn't like you said want to take on that leadership role and say, well, let me. Asia did it. She carried that team on her back.
Yeah, those last couple of minutes in that fourth quarter
Yeah,
because that game once again was for the Liberties to take. The Liberty had that game in the palm of their hands, and it was for them to take. I
yeah,
mean, even if okay, you're not hitting shots, drive, get them in foul trouble.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just didn't see the Liberty going with that next option, which is one of the things that I don't want to see them doing for next season. It's something that I don't want to see what the Knicks do because a lot of times the Knicks tend to do that. They rely on a 3-point shot, and it's like,
yeah.
well, if that's not working, is Thibodeau or one of the coaches saying stop? Because if I'm a
Hmm.
coach, I'm like, chill. Don't shoot another three. I'm not gonna tell you to stop shooting completely, because sometimes they're not gonna fall. And I know a lot of times coaches keep telling players keep shooting, keep shooting. but that just wasn't working yesterday.
Yeah, they were 9 for 26. That's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
That's when I checked the stats, that's like 35%. That's
Yeah,
nothing.
that's
Like,
nothing. You're not gonna win games like that.
yeah,
But even there was a lot of missed layups. Stewie
yeah.
driving and just boop, boop. I think Courtney had one and then a lot of times, I know me and you were saying it yesterday, the Liberty, a player would be under the basket and they were kicking the ball out. Why if
Oh
you're
yeah, I
under
saw
the
that in
basket?
a few of the plays.
You under the basket. Shoot the layup.
Benaja,
Yeah.
Snoop. Yeah,
I
and then
I I I can't put I'm trying to make the math, and it's not something's not it's
yeah,
not making any sense to me.
like because like you referenced, they didn't. It wasn't a blowout.
Yeah,
Vegas just played. I can't even say harder. They played
they
smarter.
did.
It's the
Yeah.
difference because they didn't play harder.
No,
They
they
played
didn't.
smarter.
They
And
didn't.
because when you compare apples to apples, Vegas was 42% in field goals. The Liberty was 36. So I mean, that's not a huge margin.
Right.
Your 3 point, matter of fact, the Liberty had, they were 35% for 3 pointers. The Aces was 24%. The free throws that got kind of killed in that, was
Yeah,
82-67. So again, they just played smarter. Like they did the little things, they free throws. What does that mean? You were fouled, right? So that's playing smarter, and the Liberty didn't take advantage.
yeah.
And that's.
Yeah, it was a lot of key, like, basic mistakes the Liberty made that,
Hmm.
again, if that was the first round, maybe the semis, I go, "Okay." But you can't do that in the finals. As you move further along in basketball in the playoff series, you have to tighten up the loose ends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't just go out there and you still making these minor mistakes like you're in a professional league.
Hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you got to tighten it up and it's just really unfortunate. Honestly, I didn't even want to see any videos, conference videos, Asia Wilson with the goggles on her head. I didn't want to look at it today.
Well,
Cause
yeah.
I'm like, we wasn't even y'all not even supposed to be celebrating so soon just yet. We was supposed to go to another round, another game.
Yep. Unfortunately, I did because you know I just did it, and it hurt my soul. But I'm not to be a sore loser. So I said, well, let me just check them out. Oh, just the highlights, and I'm like, man, I could have been a Knicks, or excuse me, the Liberty, or a game
Mm.
5. Like you could have taken it to Vegas, and then the thing about you lost by 1 point. It wasn't like you got blown
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
That's the hard part. Like that's what hurts the most. You know?
I was ready to potentially go to a parade. Like I was
Oh
gonna
yeah.
miss
I would
work.
have went.
Same.
I would have called out from work. I
I was
was,
ready to go to a parade. I was like, "Oh, we about to turn up." I was ready to see Ellie and
oh
just
man,
go buck wild in the middle of Times Square. Excuse
that
me, in
would have
Brooklyn,
been bananas,
downtown
man.
Brooklyn, right?
Everybody would have came out for
Yeah,
that. But to hurt, yeah, we'll get over it.
yeah. I mean, next year I think this teaches them a big lesson because it's not easy. First of all, making it that far in the game of basketball, you got to go through a whole season, and then you got to take it each round in the playoffs and try to make it. That's not easy to do. So
Well,
now next year you gotta try to do the same thing, and because Vegas is gonna be they're gonna be one of the top teams, but
oh yeah,
now
they
you
already
gotta
have them. Yeah,
yeah, they
they
have them
already.
for they got them like the Warriors to do a three-peat,
Yep.
but you gotta worry about these other teams, and there's gonna be moves in the off season in the WNBA where there's gonna be a lot of shifts, which we're gonna bring that kind of news here on our platform, but I just, again, it is for next year, but I just, now we just gotta hope the Knicks could get far this year.
Well, credit to the Liberty. If they keep their core group of ladies, that'll help with chemistry.
Yeah,
Because the
they have
Aces,
that.
Yeah, they have that. So if the Liberty could keep those same group of ladies, that's chemistry, and you I guess it's a trust. I don't know what it is, a trust factor that can, help them, but that would definitely help. And just definitely, I know there's a lot of things that they're gonna work on. Watch some film
Mhm.
over this whether it's the off season, winter. A lot of them do go overseas, but
Yeah.
they get some time to definitely look at some film and see where was the collapse at. And hopefully they can definitely come back stronger. It's definitely a learning tool for them.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think the Liberty need to make any changes to the roster as far as any specific positions that maybe, they may need for next year? Do you think that we need to maybe swap out some players or get, a specific wing player or someone that we may need? Do you think that they need to make any changes?
I would definitely bring back those starters. I mean, me personally, because again, they need that to continue to develop that chemistry. So
Yeah.
I would definitely, bring them back. I mean, they're under contract. But far as wings,
Or it could be any position, not necessarily the
yeah,
wing.
yeah, just a wing. Yeah, but right. Me personally, I'm happy with what they have going. They just didn't execute. So
Yeah.
if they bring somebody in who's to say like this person is gonna make a better, they're a good team and they can be great.
Yeah.
But again, they have to execute. So I mean, I'm happy with what they have. Maybe I'll change my mind some point. But right now, what about you?
I th- I agree. I think that who we have works for us. I think the Liberty are a great team. They surpassed, yes, they would name this super team
Hmm.
because of all the changes and players that want to end up coming to New York. But I think next season it would be nice to see a little bit more of like Hansu getting more playing time.
Uh,
Um, maybe Marine getting a little bit more playing time. And I get it as a coach, you put in players who are going to get you that W and who's fitting for that particular game. And there's been games where Marine has been in because she's, done what she needed to off the bench. But I think that like, maybe and I like Stephanie Dolson. I think she brings that leadership experience and she can shoot, the 3-point shot for us. But like in last night's game when JJ got in a little bit of foul trouble, we didn't really have a big to really cover us to get those rebounds, and that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
hurt us, slightly. But again, it's not me using excuses, but that would be the only thing for me. I think the Liberty have a great squad. They're only going to get better. To me, don't change, try to fix something that's broke because it's not. I just
Yeah.
think that, like you said, they're gonna need to like review the tapes throughout from the season and just j- come up with that energy to be able to gel every night for next season. And
Yeah,
they can
because
go far.
yeah, yeah. Well, they have a deep bench, and that's
Yeah.
been proven. They weren't the number C for nothing.
Right.
And they played just like everybody. Nobody hand over any games to them. So hopefully they could build on that. And there's a lot of things that they're gonna build on. Um, Again, watch some film, see where was the collapse, see what went wrong, and what can we improve on. Um, and learn and grow from that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to next season. I think this year was a very good season. It was exciting. And part of that was because I think the WNBA got a lot more viewership. I don't think they did get a lot more viewership
Yeah.
this season. And part of that was because, yeah, you had the repeating champs, the Las Vegas Aces going far and pretty much barely losing any games. And then you had the New York Liberty, who is in a great market, and the Liberty having so many basketball fans in general, that and them playing so well and having a great season, that
Mhm.
drew a lot of attention and a lot of eyes. And even just looking at like the replay games, on the WNBA posted on their YouTube channel and on social media, like the viewership is a lot higher than it was years ago. Granted, they didn't have social media like that, but I just think that this year having New York be in it and go as far as they did into the finals, it helped, get garner a lot of eyes and more, sports commentators and sports radio and sports podcasts and content creators talking about the WNBA more, which is great to see and to hear, and especially for the New York Liberty because it's been a long time coming. So now I also think, with that being said, the Liberty have to be able to like, now you definitely got to go far next year because you proved that you can make it all the way to the finals this year. You can't not go far next season and just make it maybe to the first round. It's just not. You can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now you're held to a higher standard where like now you got to be able to surpass not just having a great season, but going far in the playoffs. And you should be able to want to redeem yourselves from last year.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm kudos to, a great WNBA season. It wasn't boring. There was a lot more eyes on the games this year. And, I'm looking forward to next year.
For sure. Yeah, I'm most certainly looking forward to it. They're in a great market, playing at the Barclays, caused a lot of fanfare and just, the attendance playing to a sold out crowd.
Yeah.
Sandy's a, awesome coach. Um, they got a nice core there. They just have to just build on that and definitely come back hungrier next year. And
Agreed.
they will though, because you know they were right there, and they just
Yeah.
so they will definitely they can only grow from this,
Yeah. Agreed.
they can only
Agreed.
grow.
So, any last words before we get out of here for anything maybe you want to see or anything for the WNBA period?
Um, mm, well, for my liberty, I definitely want to see the back of the playoffs, and I'm jumping the gun, so I'm going straight to for the juggler. I'm jumping the gun, but for the most part, no. I mean, it was a great season. It was really exciting. Not because even the Liberty went in, but just overall, women's
Yeah.
basketball. I mean, has really grown. Has taken this, to new heights. The viewership is up, and we got to just continue to support. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's it. I'm excited. Can't wait for next season.
Yeah, for sure I agree. I think that the Liberty did an amazing job. The WNBA, shout out to all the teams. They did a really good job this season. I think that I look forward to the growth. I look forward to us playing against Vegas next season. And
Okay.
I mean, getting, the Commissioner's Cup is cool, but the championship will taste even better.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
Icing
yeah,
on the cake.
you guys want a little extra money, but I think the championship is even better. So next season, we definitely are coming forward and redeeming ourselves. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to a great season and looking forward to talking Knicks basketball, starting with our next podcast. Because next week starts next Wednesday is the Knicks' first
Yeah.
home opener.
Oh yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, it's gonna be a long season. I'm excited the NBA is back. So let's go Knicks. I'm looking forward to that.
Yep. And kudos to Liberty.
Yeah, shout out to the Liberty. They made it all the way to the finals. I know a lot of people, that's what they wanted and predicted. So I'm happy that they did make it that far. It's not easy to do that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next season
Same here.
and happy that we have more basketball coming up so that we could just continue to glide into basketball season.
82 games we got.
Yeah. And then that tournament that they have coming up too in the NBA.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that'll be quite interesting. But I don't want the Knicks to focus on that. You'll get past that and then you can go on ahead from there into focusing on making the playoffs and getting further than
Mhm.
you did last season. So, yeah, that's it for me today. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, just waiting for the Knicks, and we'll bring some content from the Knicks and our analysis and our takes. Highs, the lows, the good, the bad. We're gonna bring it.
Yeah, did the Knicks beat Washington last
Now
night?
they lost.
Yeah, I forgot. They did lose that game, but we um we will be back to talk Knicks basketball and yeah, subscribe guys, like this video. It'll help us get onto the algorithm. We're newbies but not new to the game of basketball. So like this video, subscribe, leave us a comment, and stay tuned because we're going to be bringing a lot of Knicks content and yeah, talking more basketball. So thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you guys later.
Good night.